Hello everyone, I'm Alex Dykes, and today we are inside the 2016 Honda Civic taking a look at the infotainment and optional navigation system that is standard on almost every trim level of the 2016 Civic. We're inside the EX trim, which is one up from the base LX model. You'll notice that we do have this particular touchscreen standard. The LX model is actually the only one you won't find this screen in. Now in top-end trims, you will also see integrated navigation in this particular system using this same screen. Of course, the big change for 2016 is that this system is now running a variant of the Android operating system for the software that you're seeing on this touchscreen. It's very similar to what we see in the 2016 Honda Accord, except this is a single screen setup, not a dual screen setup like we see in the larger sedan. This also supports Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and I do have an iPhone 6 connected to the system right now. The inclusion of CarPlay and Android Auto means that this system essentially comes with navigation software. This navigation software is very intuitive, it's very easy to use because of course it's what you're used to on your smartphone, and it does look different whether you use Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. This is the Apple CarPlay system, obviously. If you want to see what Android Auto looks like, there is a video on my channel that explores some of the differences between the two. You can of course browse through your media library, you can see what's playing right there, heart songs, change your shuffle mode or your repeat mode, and then of course go back to your home screen. Now all of that can be done through the natural voice commands on your device. You'll notice that we also have access to the Apple streaming radio services, very similar to what we see in the Google system where we have access to the Google streaming media. We have audiobooks, podcasts, and this Honda option takes you right back to the Honda interface. As you see right there, you can swap back by just clicking on the Apple CarPlay. We're told that we will start seeing additional apps for this interface soon, so you'll notice Pandora is the only other app that I have right there in this interface. Apple should be releasing another update to their iOS system, and we should see some changes to this interface at that time. That really is going to be the big thing that you'll notice about CarPlay and Android Auto both, is that they will be updated on a smartphone update schedule, which is far more frequent than a car manufacturer's audio interface schedule. So you shouldn't expect to see the main menu software changing in this particular system very often, if ever, when you buy your car. However, what you see inside this Apple CarPlay interface is likely going to change every time your phone's software gets updated. Obviously, the only downside to these systems are that when we're on the mapping interface, this will only work while we have a valid cell phone signal, which you will see over here on the left side. So it really is dependent on your carrier. Let's explore the features of the system one at a time. If we click the audio button, it will take you to your current playing audio source. If the CarPlay source was playing at the moment, that's what it would take you right to, is that CarPlay interface. But you can also have the car's Pandora interface playing right here with the connected smartphone, as you can see right there. And this will use the car's interface for interacting with Pandora, not the Apple CarPlay interface for interacting with Pandora, which you will see over here on the CarPlay screen. Drag across, and then click over there for the Pandora app. This is being generated by your smartphone. This interface right over here is being generated by the car itself. And that's the one that we see right over here. Because of the model that we are in, we have AM, FM, Bluetooth, Pandora, etc., but we don't have any satellite radio or HD radio inputs. The info screen off the home menu is where you'll find things like your car's trip computer. So you can click right there and we can see what our fuel economy is like, the history of Trip A, etc. These are basically the same screens we have seen for some time in Honda products. You can also use the back button. All the buttons on the side here are touch buttons, like it or not, and the volume knob is a drag slider. So you can actually drag it right here on this screen, or you can actually drag it on the larger screen right there, or hit mute. The Honda Link selection is a group of smartphone integrated apps that uses the data service on your smartphone itself to pull information from Honda services. So we can actually get weather right over here for today, 5-day forecast, etc. But this information is all being generated by this car's stereo unit with data from the smartphone that's paired. This is not like Apple CarPlay, because this video is not being generated by the phone itself, and when you're on the CarPlay screens, that video is actually being generated by the smartphone's processor. Clicking on Vehicle is where you'll find notices about your vehicle, like Maintenance Minder right here. It's telling us that it's time to change the engine oil in our car. You can also see recalls, campaigns, or all of your maintenance right here that needs to be done to the car. Going back once again to the home screen, you notice that we also have AHA integration, just like we had Pandora integration over there on that other screen. You can actually slide your finger across the screen to these various pages. We're told that over time, more apps will appear in this particular system. We of course have our typical Bluetooth telephone interface, but something interesting happens when we have Apple CarPlay activated. That's it actually takes you right over to the Apple CarPlay app. Basically the same thing happens with Android Auto. And that's because this smartphone has actually never been paired with Bluetooth in this particular system. All of this is being done via that CarPlay app. It handles all the pairing and interactions with your phone for you. Once more to the home screen, You'll notice that we do have a settings option here. This is where you can change system and vehicle settings. Vehicle settings right over here. The number of settings that you can change on the Civic are a little bit more limited than some of the other vehicles out there. We can change lighting, keyless access, etc. Of course, the Apple CarPlay we've already explored, but we also have an app list here, and these are sort of built-in Android apps that come with every install of Android. So we do have a web browser that does function in this car. It is actually snappier than what we see in certain Mercedes products. We also have a calculator, downloads, gallery, search, and an app installer. If you felt like jailbreaking your car's infotainment system, you can add, of course, any compatible Android apps, because this is essentially a tablet computer running Android that has all these other car things integrated with it. This system also integrates the car's automatic climate control system, so if I hit the climate button, you'll notice we do have touchscreen options for the various climate control functions. Of course, audio is right down here, and there are some additional physical buttons. The temperature is displayed right here in this little area of the screen, and up there is also where you'll find things like direct access to our audio source, or the ability to actually change the audio source right there and pick an input. Overall, this system is definitely one of the most fully featured in this category. It's also the only one at this time that features Apple CarPlay in this manner, as well as Android Auto. What makes this a little bit more unique for the Civic is that this is standard in the EX trim and above. It's not optional in the Civic. That means that almost all the Civics that you'll find on the dealer lot will have this particular system in the dashboard. Now, some of the upper level systems will have built-in navigation software, so you won't have to use Apple CarPlay or Android Auto to navigate, but I don't really think that's that much of an added feature, to be honest, in the upper level trims, because the Apple CarPlay system and the Android Auto integration works very well, especially the Android Auto implementation, because it does allow you to pinch and zoom your maps. I think they're a little bit more attractive than the Apple CarPlay maps. Thanks to the Apple CarPlay and Android Auto integration, just the overall snappiness of the system and the fact that this is standard on every trim makes this my favorite infotainment and navigation system in the compact sedan segment. Thanks for taking the time to check out this video. Be sure and check out the full review on the 2016 Honda Civic as well. Click that subscribe button at the bottom of your screen, and I'll see you next week.